Okay, guys, so as you can notice, this is a review video, right? Which what that means is you're going to do all the work. You're going to check it. I'm going to give you a worksheet of this in class so you can make sure you have a hard copy of it. Remember, you got to simplify and check your work. Okay, simplify and check your solution. Okay, so show me both. Okay, so I guess we're good here. Go ahead, hit it, do your best. Let's see how you come out. Hit pause, do the problems, hit play, check your answers. If you make mistakes, then fast forward to the parts you didn't get right, wherever you made your mistakes. But first, check and see if you made mistakes. Okay, here we go. Hit pause. Okay, here you go. So this first one should have been positive 4y. The second one, those are lions and puppies. Don't put them together. Stays negative 8r minus 5y. That's as simple as it's going to get. The next one, negative 15t. Number 4, the perimeter would be 11x plus 14 when you simplify it. And the next fifth one would be not negative 5t, that would have been a mistake, but negative 5s. Now you would have checked those if you're going to get full credit, right? So you would have plugged in some number. So just to give you an example, we have this written out. 11y minus 7y should equal 4y. Let's say we plug in a 3 for y. So we put a 3 in here. Then we look down and we say, well, let's compare. So if we have 11 times 3 is 33, minus 7 times 3 is 21. It's going to give us 12. And if we look over here, 4 times 3 is 12. Well, when y equals 3, these two sides are equivalent. So we can assume this side, these two expressions are equivalent. So again, remember that our goal is to figure out what this is, what this simplified is. All we did down here was check to see if we were correct. Okay. Okay, so again, if you need the explanations, so I'm going to do a check for each one of these. So you should be looking to see if you did the check. So if you're struggling with how to do the check, you can see that, okay? But, okay, so we'll look at these. Now we said that this one couldn't be simplified. So if you came up with something else, like maybe you came up with negative 13 ry, right? Then you'd see that probably doesn't work, right? Okay. Now, so with this, what you do is you'll check these two. You write out your checks, make sure you did the checks right. I'll show you what checks should look like, so you can go from there. Okay, so we look at this one. We would have plugged it in. We started out. We had that negative 13t minus 2t equals negative 15t. We say that t equals 2. You could have picked 3 or 4. Maybe you did. Hopefully you picked a different number than 2, because then you'll see they came out balanced this way too. Okay, so you got negative 13 times 2 is negative 26. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So we're going to have negative 26 plus negative 4. If we check that on number line, if we're at negative 26, we add negative 4. We go that way. We land at negative 30. And then we look over on the other side. We can see that negative 15 times 2 is negative 30. These two are balanced. So that means if when t equals 2, these two are balanced, that means these two expressions must be equivalent. If these two are equivalent, then if we can't plug in a number that doesn't make them so they're not equivalent, then these two expressions must be equivalent. Okay, and same thing for the check here. We did the same thing. We just plugged in a value, checked it. This is how you'd show your work for your check. Okay. Same thing over here. You just plug in a value, should come out to be the same value, right? So let's say we plug in a 4 this time. Let's put a 4 in here for x, right? Okay, so we plugged in a 4. We get that we have 10. We get 2 plus 8 is 10. 4 times 4 is 16. The 4 we just brought down. 7 times 4 is 28. Okay. We look over here. So now we have 26. Plus 4 plus the 28, which means we're going to have 30 plus 28 is 58. And we have 44 plus 14 is 58. So these two expressions are also equivalent because when we substituted in a 4 for x, we got the same, we got equivalent values, which means these two expressions are equivalent. Okay, so now the rest of this video, that explains that. So the rest of this would be for me to draw out a drawing so you would see and understand how to draw these expressions. If you're not getting it, then you really need to go to a visual model. Okay? All right. Okay, so if you got it and you get these and you have 100% on these, you're probably ready for the quiz. Do the review assignment and you're good. Okay? All right. So again, you're going to get this. A-Day is going to get this in class. You'll do this, and you can go watch the video to see if you got it right. Okay? All right. Good luck. Come with questions. Okay, if you're sticking around, and that means you're not quite sure how to do any of this, and you're struggling with it. So you got questions. So first thing I would expect you to have done is you would have gone through and looked at your problem, looked at the problems, look at each one of these expressions, and look to see if you could see where your mistake was. Okay? So there's at least two ways to look at this, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite these. I'm going to go through each one. You figure out, you fast forward to the one you didn't get right, okay? See if you can do it. I'm going to show you at least one way to do it, okay? All right, so let's try this one first. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is rewrite it as 11y plus negative 7y, okay? Actually, I could do it the other way. So watch, if I drew 11 y's, and I'm just going to say this is a y, right? I'm going to draw 11 of those. You draw 11 of those. And there's 11 of those. And it says I'm going to take 7 away. So I'm going to take away 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. How am I left with? 4. I'm left with 4y. So if I have 11 y's and take away 7 y's, I'm left with 4y. There we go. I mean, the other way to look at it, once you start understanding abstract, is really what we're doing is, if we think about it, mama here is the y, right? So we're going to pull mama out of the picture. What we're really saying is we have 11 minus 7 times y. And 11 minus 7 is 4. There you go. Got to be careful, but that's abstractly what we're doing. This is a concrete representation of what we're doing. This is the abstract representation of what we're doing. So if this way makes sense to you and you can get the right answer every time, go ahead and move on to that. But if you need to draw the pictures, draw the pictures. Okay, we look at this one. Well, these are two different things, right? So if I say this is an R, I'm going to draw an R like this. And I'm going to draw a Y like this. Then what I'm saying is, and if I draw a negative Y like this, and a negative R, this is a negative Y, this is a negative R, then I have 8 negative R's. And 5 negative Y's. Because I just rewrite this as plus negative Y, right? That way I can use commutative property. So here we go. Well, can you put those together? No, they're lions and puppies, right? And you don't put your lions and puppies together because you're a good zookeeper. So here you go. Okay? It's done. You can't do anything different. If you would have come up with negative, let's say you would have put that together and thought, oh, I know, I can get that to be negative 13RY, right? So you're trying to put them all together. And the thing is, lions and puppies don't go well together anyway. So it's not like you're going to make a mix. So you got to look at it again. Go to your original expression, so don't put that plus in there. Go to your original expression, minus 5y. Give two values, one for r equals 12. Let's say r equals 2 and y equals 3. So we're going to have negative r times 8 times 2 minus 5 times 3. So that's going to be negative 16 minus 15, which is negative 31. Okay? Now let's look at this and see if we get the same thing. Negative 13 times 2 times 3, which is negative 13 times 6, which is going to be negative 78. These two are not the same. So since these don't come out to be the same result, these two are not similar expressions. If we look, they are different variables. Lions and puppies, you leave it alone, that's what you get. Okay, it can't be simplified. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, so if we took this one and we drew it out, we'd say, if we said this is a t, we said we're going to make our t's look like this, right? And we have negative t look like this. We're going to rewrite this expression as negative 13t plus negative 2t. Okay, so we're going to have 13 negative t's. One, draw that. Then we're going to add that to 2 negative t's. So we don't have any zero pairs there. So we're just putting them together, right? That's the cool thing about addition, is we're just putting it together. So if we look, we have all together, we have negative 15 t's. Okay. Again, if you're doing it abstractly, you'd say, oh, look, I got negative 13 minus 2 times t. Negative 13 minus 2 goes to the left, which means we're going to have negative 15t. And we already checked it. We know that's the correct solution. But the reason why you're watching is you're not sure how to do this. Now, these two here, remember these two right here, they were just to say that's what a positive t would look like. But we don't have positive t's, we just have negative t's. Okay? All right. Well, This last one, again, you're just fast forwarding to the ones you don't get, right? So again, if I looked at this, I'd say I have 8. Again, if I look, I just compared it right to this. Okay, so we're just adding up other sides. Remember, that's all perimeter is. Perimeter is what's the measure around. Okay, so what you'd be doing is you're adding the 2 plus the 8 plus the 4x plus the 4 plus the 7x. Okay, so that means I'm going to add the 2, the 8, the 4x, the 4, and the 7x. Okay, but the first thing I got to do is look and say, well, which ones are like terms? So I know that's a constant, that's a constant, that's a constant, because it's not attached to a variable. Okay, so those are my puppies. So right now, if I'm going to be a good zookeeper, I'm going to put my puppies away from my lions. So that means I know that this is a variable, this is a variable. So I'm going to write 4x plus 7x. Because it's all addition, I can commute. And then I'm going to add the 2 plus the 2 plus the 8 plus the 4. Which if I have 4x's plus 7x's, again, if you still want to use the graphic representation, say, look, I got 4x's and 7x's. How many do I have all together? I can count. Those are 11x's, right? So I'm going to have 11x plus 2 plus 4 plus 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. This is plus 14. Okay? All right. That's how we got that. Probably the biggest thing to remember on this is that the perimeter is the measure around. One of the most important things is make a dash where you started, so you don't add something twice, because that's a really common mistake on that, is for people to go all the way around and then add another and a couple, not know when to stop. Again, it's about knowing when to stop, right? And so if you are that sibling that doesn't know when to stop, well, hopefully you learn how to here, okay? All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5, you would have 8s plus negative 13s. Okay, because we would have rewritten it. So as we rewrite this, okay, now what we're going to do is we look at that and say we're going to have 8 s's plus 13 negative s's, right? Which means if we draw that out, okay, so if I have 8 positive s's and 13 negative s's, I'm looking to see how many 0 pairs I have, right? So if I look here, there's 4 0 pairs there, there's 4 0 pairs there. What's left over? Well, what I've got left over is these 5 negative s's. So that's going to be negative 5s. Of course, the other way to look at it would have been to say that if you had 8s minus 13s, you could take mama out of the picture. Say that the common factor here is the s. So you'd have 8 minus 13 times s. There's mama's the s. 8 minus 13 are the babies. 8 plus negative 13. If you look at that, if you got 8 and you add negative 13, you're going to go that way. You wind up at negative 5. So you write negative 5s. And at this point, either one of these ways is acceptable. If you have to do it, if you need to do it this way, where you're still drawing the pictographs, that's fine. It's not going to be as helpful with the larger math, but you could still do it. And this right here, that's the abstract. The only difference is concrete would be we'd have blocks for you to play with. So there's a concrete, which is the blocks. There's a representational, which is the pictures. And then there's the abstract, which is you did it like this. This is abstract. That's the goal. We're trying to get you here. All right. Well, there you go. Now, again, you watched this, the parts of the videos you needed to watch. Okay, so you should be able to see this, ask questions, come to class with questions. Your 5A quiz is next week. Okay, all right, good luck. Make sure you're asking yourself, what did you learn from this? What do you still have questions about? What do you wonder? All right, and what's the hardest part? I guess maybe even what's the easiest part for you? Okay, good luck.